What's the stupidest thing you've done at a family gathering? Got drunk in front of my great grandmother and started to shit talk my entire family in a baby voice to my baby niece. While the entire family thought I was out of line, my great grandmother thought it was hilarious and that I had valid points. My great grandmother thought it was hilarious and that I had valid points. Her opinion is the only one that matters here. In my defense, I have epilepsy and was having a partial or a mini seizure which caused this. I go into the kitchen and a few cousins are standing there with my aunt. I say sandwich, I think, but my brain was literally just reset about 20 seconds ago and I'm operating at an ultra dumb level. I remember this primarily because there was aftermath to recollect. I took mayo out of the fridge and just throw a spoonful, I think, at the fridge. I then take out cheese and throw it on the mayo, followed by turkey at the ground and bread somewhere. I look at it and just walked away. My family did not know I had epilepsy at that point in time. That was the icebreaker. Not me but my dad, as a kid, took a shit in the fireplace and went around bragging about it. My grandma still brings it up to this day. Not me but at Thanksgiving last year my dad once brought out photos of the car crash that killed my grandpa and passed them around to my mom and her family. It was her dad that died and he talked for like an hour about how bad his death must have been. It was painful to watch as he had only died recently. I inadvertently went to a strip club with my parents when I was 22 years old. My mom had been ordering pizza from the new bar down the street and was raving about it one night. So we decided to go check out the new restaurant and try their pizza, just me and my parents, instead of having it delivered. As soon as we pulled into the parking lot my spidey senses went off, as I knew this place was known for having some seedy people hanging around, and it's always been some sort of strip club. But I thought, no way, my dad would know if it was a strip club. Has gotten pizza from here several times now. I couldn't have been more wrong. That voice in my head was telling me to turn around and run as soon as we parked, and two men were standing at the door sharing a pretty raunchy story with all sorts of lovely details as we walked up. We walked in the door, and as soon my family entered, it went silent. Every waitress and bartender stopped and looked at us. The strippers even stopped and stared at us. I turned to my dad, and before I could say anything, my mom says it's a strip club? ? My dad, being the stubborn man he is, says I don't care. I want pizza. Never in my life have I heard of a strip club even selling pizza, let alone offering delivery. We sit down. I strategically placed myself so my back is to the strippers, and we place our order. 45 long, painful minutes waiting for our pizza and having small talk while two very overweight, out of shape homely girls take off their tops. Thankfully that's all they took off. Danced a few feet behind us. My mom finally asks where our pizza is, and the waitress comes back and tells us she forgot to put in the order. That was the last straw for my mom, who quickly paid the tab and we left, hungry and scarred for the rest of our lives. We still laugh about the day we went to a strip club together for pizza. They shut down a few weeks later, so I never did get to try the amazing pizza my parents raved about. I don't care. I want pizza. Your dad is my hero. I was with a friend, Dennis, at his family reunion. He sees his cousin arrive with a friend in tow. My friend greets his cousin he hadn't seen in years with, "Hey Joe, you crazy cocksucker." His guest gets in Dennis's face very hostile about his phrasing. Dennis pretty much greeted everyone as a cocksucker, but the other guy insisted there were better ways of saying it. Nobody knew the cousin was gay before that, and in a small town it was a hell of a way to come out. Not me but my oldest cousin on my dad's side said this at my great grandma's funeral. Imagine if she moved. I once had a middle-aged college professor who said he was back east for a family reunion and mentioned he had a hot tub. Later, he overheard two of his aunts around the corner. "Do you know he lives in California and has a hot tub?" Oh. He seemed like such a good boy growing up. I asked my brother-in-law how his dad was doing, had significant health problems, forgetting that he had died 6 or 8 months prior. Got absolutely hammered the night before and passed out in a snowdrift at the family snowmobile party. fell off my sled, and just laid there waiting for death to take me. Death took too long. So I got up and went back to the group. I'm pretty sure my dad knew what was up and felt that slogging around in the snow all day might teach me not to do that again. He was right. Haven't gotten out of control drunk since Christmas of 1995. One Christmas, my family gathered at Gram's for dinner. One of my cousins brought a karaoke machine. This turned into everyone participating. But not just participating. Being made to pick a song and sing and dance in front of the rest of the family. Horrifying. So many terrible vocalists attempting to win a Grammy. So impaired with my cousin, brother, and uncle. We decided to pick something easy. I don't recall what, but it was an upbeat does not require vocal talent type of song. As we sing, we're kinda throwing up hand signs as we're going. Well, my hands don't exactly cooperate, and I end up throwing 2 giant middle fingers up. I died a bit inside when I look over and see an aunt is recording my awkward childhood, immortalized forever. Brought up my uncle's boyfriend. He's married to a girl. My brother had been overserved and was passed out on the floor in the middle of the group. He was only wearing gym shorts. Suddenly he woke for one brief second and pulled his shorts off. Was not wearing underwear. He had no idea where he was. He was just laying there nude in front of maybe 20 people. It all went completely quiet until my uncle spoke up and said that son of a bitch is hung. Funniest thing I have ever seen. I ruined Thanksgiving because I was too high. I've shared this story before. But when I was a teenager I got a weed brownie from my dealer. I had never had an edible before. So I was super excited. I decided to eat it before Thanksgiving, that way I would have a nice high and all this good food to eat. He warned me that it was strong and to only eat half of it. I ate the half, and after like 15 minutes I wasn't feeling anything. So I decided to eat the other half too. I didn't know that with edibles it takes a while to kick in and wasn't instant like smoking. By the time dinner came by I was very stoned. Like too much for my own comfort. My aunt and uncle were there too along with my little cousin, who was like 4 at the time. I went upstairs to join my family and thought I could keep it together long enough for a quick dinner and nobody would be the wiser. That was not the case. I was so stoned that I could not look at anyone. So I just awkwardly stared at my food and gave one-word answers when my family tried to talk to me. It made things incredibly uncomfortable for everyone. After about 15 minutes I could not take it anymore. So I just picked up my plate and went downstairs to my room. My mom followed me and wanted to know what the hell was wrong with me. I admitted to her that I ate a weed brownie and was incredibly stoned and asked if she could just leave me alone because I was too high to deal with things right now. She was cool about it and waited until I came down from the intense high to yell at me about ruining Thanksgiving dinner. Edibles don't kick until they hear ya talking shit. Told my very religious great aunt that the only god I believed in was Thor. This was right after seeing the first Avengers movie and I was still pumped a bit. I wanted to throw an empty bottle of water at my cousin and I hit my sister instead. It was a wedding. My sister was the bride. Tell my sister-in-law that her kids, my nephews, are why I don't want kids. Trusted a fart. A few Christmases ago my family got me a taser before my move to a big city. It looks like a little plastic gun. And you have to put a pre-packaged, disposable bullet, the little prongs that shoot out and shock the bad guy, into the end for it to work. That was obvious. What was less obvious was that, without the bullet, a taser will still work as an old-fashioned stun gun, which you can just poke at a bad guy and shock with direct contact. I grew up with guns. I know they're harmless if you're careful to make sure they're unloaded, including the chamber if the gun has one. My family's given each other real guns for Christmas many times, always in a safe condition. I thought this non-lethal weapon was pretty simple, so while demonstrating the empty taser without the bullet inserted on what I thought was a safe weapon, I managed to shock the ever-loving shit out of my hand with its backup stun gun functionality. I feel some gas in me, so I try so slowly let it out, ends up somehow falling down my pants onto the floor. Got wasted. I'd just lost about 70 pounds and my alcohol tolerance had gone with it. though I hadn't really tested it recently. And my husband's, then boyfriend's, family really likes wine. And I just kept topping off my wine without really paying attention to how much I was drinking. I became an uncoordinated mess and almost broke several gifts by accident. And I was still not the worst drunk at the party. 2 other people also got wasted and had a screaming match in which I was blessedly not involved. Please subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.